Okay.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I just ask for a moment of silence for the incident in Texas? Peggy, roll call.
Dr. Fike?
Here.
Mr. Friend?
Here.
Mrs. Geyer?
Here.
Mr. Nuzza? Mrs. O'Rear? Mr. Polakowski?
Here.
Mr. Shipley?
Here.
Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Williams?
Here. Mr. Liza and Mrs. O'Rear have asked to be excused this evening, and we were in executive session prior to this for some legal matters. Do we have any citizens' comments?
I do not.
Resolution for Southmoreland's proposed general fund final budget and posting of Southmoreland's 2022-2023 fiscal year proposed final general fund budget with tax increase within the Act 1 index.
Approval of posting a proposed fiscal year 2022-2023 general fund budget of Southmoreland School District with the Act 1 of June 27, 2006 as amended, tax 15 increase within the Act 1 index. Now therefore, on motion of and second by, be resolved that the Southmoreland School Board hereby authorizes and directs that the attached proposed final general fund budget of the Southmoreland School District for the 2022-2023 fiscal with expenditures of $36,069,494.35 and revenues of $35,084,216.66 and the use of unassigned fund balance of $985,277.69. The final general fund budget is subject to such revisions and changes as appear advisable to the Board of Directors at the adoption of the final budget. This would require millage at 90.9311 for Westmoreland County and 16.5418 for Fayette County, as currently set by using the multi-county rebalancing-based methodology of School Code Section 672.1A1 in the Pennsylvania Department of Education CRFS-GFB General Fund Budget application and the $5 local service tax in all existing Act 511 taxes. The proposed tax millage rates are subject to change for the final budget adoption using the multi-county rebalancing-based methodology of School Code Section 672.1A1 of the Public School Code of 1949 as amended in the CFRS-GFB application. The Southmoreland School Board further directs that, number one, the business manager is to post the proposed final general fund budget for the 2022-2023 fiscal year as presented for at least 20 days prior to the date set for final adoption on the form required by the Pennsylvania Department of Education and be available for public inspection by posting it on the Southmoreland website and by having physical copies available at the business office, 2351 PA 981 Howerton, PA 15612. Number two, the business manager is to prepare and the president to sign the certification of use document to the Department of Education, therefore, upon passage of this resolution, and number three, the Southmoreland School Board authorizes and directs the Secretary to obtain the necessary advertisements for the final general fund budget at least 10 days in advance of the date set for final adoption at a public hearing in the form prepared by the solicitor as attached.
I need a motion. Need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
I have a question. What was last year's millage, Pam,
Last year's millage
for Westmoreland County?
for Westmoreland County was 85,942. What I can tell you is, before we even did a tax increase to the Westmoreland County residents due to rebalancing through the STEB market values, Westmoreland County was increased by .9934 mils, which means it almost increased a mil due to the STEB market value rebalancing. I did contact Mr. Benjamin Haft at PDE. Just wanted to verify. That's why I had asked this to be tabled last week. I did wanted to verify what I indeed was seeing was correct. He did verify that. He did say that he had more calls this year from folks like myself, business managers at school districts, asking the very same question. I can tell you that the STEB market value for, let me find it, because as usual, I brought a multitude of papers with me. I can tell you that Westmoreland's STEB market value in 2019 was $749,386,395. That jumped this year to $829,986, or $829 million, I'll get that right, $986,272, which was an increase of $80,599,877. So unfortunately, in looking at that, whenever you do the rebalancing, the amount that was increased in Fayette County came from the 2019 STEB market value of $104,878,222. The 2020 STEB market value for Fayette County was $105,346,188, which was an increase of $467,966. So unfortunately, that made a change by 1.01405% in the total market value for the folks of Westmoreland County, which put more of the tax burden on them. So unfortunately, that's where we are, that the Westmoreland County folks had a millage increase before we even applied our index millage increase to them.
Okay, I have something I'd like to say to the general public. This basically constitutes a 5 mil tax increase, 4.99 in Westmoreland County. And it rounds out to about $148 increase forever and ever and ever. I think that in view of the terrible rates of inflation, the horrible decline in savings accounts, stock markets, gasoline prices, groceries, and so forth, it is unthinkable that we should increase people's taxes by 5 mils. But I don't think it's just 5 mils. I have a question, Pam. Is there a potential $300-some thousand in the budget for what I'm going to call a personnel change?
Excuse me, I'm going to ask that you don't go any further with that.
That's $350,000, Michelle. This is tax money I'm talking about, okay?
We are not going to get into that in a public meeting right now.
That is money we are asking people to pay by their tax increase.
I would request that we do not discuss information that was discussed during executive session, especially when no board action has been
There are
taken
no,
and
there are no
been
names
votes.
attached.
It
There are no
doesn't
names
matter.
attached. There's no names attached.
I'm gonna, call for recess.
I motion to
Motion.
adjourn to recess.
Second.
Second. Can you please stop and step out, Steve?
spend? I just want to...
$188,000.
$188,000.
I asked that in an email.
What-
Is it good? Okay. So, I'm sorry, we had some problems with technology here. I had asked the business manager to explain if this tax increase was within the index, and she had given us some numbers, so I'm gonna have her give us those again.
Okay. So due to the rebalancing, as I made mention earlier, the Westmoreland County now has a bigger chunk, so to say, in our district, so as far as the STEB market values go. So with that being said, when the rebalancing calculation came into effect, the Fayette County taxes actually went down to 16.5418 from 17.4419, which is a 5.15% decrease from last year. Now, when we started out with the rebalanced numbers from Westmoreland County, because as I stated earlier, there was almost a 1 mil increase in Westmoreland County due to the rebalancing before we even touched anything. So that rebalanced amount in Westmoreland County was 86.9376 mils. The tax rate that we're projecting for the 22-23 fiscal year is 90.9311, which is 4.6%, which is definitely up to the index, and we are definitely, as you can see in my state reporting here, it asks the question, are we within the index? And the answer to that is indeed yes. And then you would also ask in regard to whether or not any of the additional monies were added into the budget from the state's projections, because as we all know, right now we don't have anything definitive from the state. But I did feel comfortable in adding the special education additional allotment for basic ed and special ed funding, which was $161,987. With that being said, right now there still is a projected amount that the district could receive. Once again, focus on the word could receive, which is $900,026. If we got that, looking at the deficit, we would only have a deficit of $85,252.70. Do I think that we're going to get all $900,000? In Pam's perfect world, we would, and that would make our district much healthier. Do I think that's realistic? I do not, especially in talking back and forth through emails with some of my cohorts and actually talking with some additional people at the state. I don't think I think maybe we'll get 25% of it if we're extremely lucky. But that's kind of where we are at this point. And unfortunately, as we've talked before in the past, part of the problem with the budget this year is I've added some additional capital expenditures, which we've not captured from our 3-year plan, and that's where the deficit basically lies, because of the fact that we have problems with our roofs. We have, you name it, folks, we've got, for the 22-23 fiscal year, we've got buildings and grounds expenditures of $1,240,950. We've got athletic expenditures because we need to finish the second part of the track. We've got custodial maintenance because we have a truck from the 70s that we're trying to replace, which we utilize to salt our parking lot so that we can keep the buildings open during the winter. We've got some curriculum, $150,000 out there so that we can continue to use our curriculum cycles, those type things. We've got some technology, but right now I can tell you the technology monies, I actually took that out of the general fund budget and took that from ESSERS. So that, even though that's in the budget, it's part of ESSERS. So we're thankful for that. Part of the buildings and grounds is also the HRU units, which we've talked at multitude about, and actually we did get some information today. We're going to be putting that out to bid most recently. So unfortunately, the crux of it is, yes, we have contractual expenditures, which we will realize each year. I can tell you, for example, the medical rates went up by, for the employee only, went up by 5.9%. The other plans increased by 5.8%. That was $177,000 increase. The contractual salary increases for teachers was $294,000. So unfortunately, we've got a lot of things, you know, and the preventative maintenance for the roof at SES and SPC. We've got masonry repairs. We've got bleacher repairs. We're trying to do things that keep the buildings, that protect our investments and keep our students and staff safe. You'll hear me say this again and again, and you'll get sick of it: safe, warm, and dry. Because that's my goal, to keep our students and staff safe, warm, and dry.
So the $985,000 that's coming out of the unassigned fund balance, we do have some fund balance that is assigned.
Correct.
So we have some assigned fund balance for cyber charters.
That is correct.
So do you know what that amount is that's in there under?
To be honest with you, that I would have to look up the exact dollar amount that's in there. But I can get that for you.
But that is money that we could pull
Right.
to offset there versus just saying we're going to use $985,000 from the unassigned fund balance.
Correct. Correct. And I can tell you that I did increase the cyber charter line item for this year by $98,000, because looking at, each month I give you a report on our cyber charter expenditures, that's something that we have to keep a tab on. And unfortunately, I don't see that decreasing anytime soon. I see that increasing.
Pam, I'm looking at the figures that you gave us for local tax revenues,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So if we raise 5 mills, that we're going to ask people to contribute roughly another $1 million. It's about 900 and some thousand. Okay, we're going to take $1 million. Am I right? That's a 7% increase of local revenue?
Well, part of the local revenue went up originally because of the additional, of the rebalancing, but also of the initial, I'm looking for the word, assessment values. The assessment values went up as well.
What I'm trying to get at is the percentage of what we're asking. If we raise 5 mills, which raises $1 million, and local revenue is 13, what percent is that? Is that 7%? Am I right?
Hang
Is
on.
that a 7% tax increase for local, just local revenue? I'm not looking at the whole picture. Because it had been hanging around 11 and 12 for the longest time, and I see it's up to 13 now.
It is, but I can tell you the prior year for 21-22 fiscal year, the local revenues were $13,189,548. So the 22-23 fund budget, general fund budget has revenues, local revenues of $13,639,508.35, which is an increase of $449,960.35.
But 5 mills at $188,000 a mill is $940,000.
Right, but there are some additional items in there.
7%.
But that's not all from a tax increase.
This is local revenue. Yeah, that is the tax increase, Christie. We're raising it $1 million.
So wouldn't your local also include,
The assess,
Local also includes,
your earned income?
correct, earned income tax. It also includes transfer
Great.
taxes, it also includes delinquent taxes, it includes interest, which obviously is very low these days because of the interest rates. It includes IDEA funding and some additional amounts. And interim real estate taxes as well. PERDA, taxes in lieu of, LST taxes, EIT taxes, transfer taxes.
7% tax increase in local revenue.
That's not just property tax, though. Just
Right.
The other stuff doesn't amount to much. There's a little bit in there, but it's not a major portion of that. 98% of it comes from properties.
But like I said, keep in mind, too, that the individuals in Fayette County, due to the rebalancing, they had a 5.15% decrease. So that makes a difference as well.
I'm just taking the whole picture together. I'm just taking it all together. It's $1 million increase on local revenue, which is 7%, unless I'm wrong. Those are big
But that
numbers.
7% isn't all from a property tax increase.
How much
Right.
of it comes from property taxes?
4.6%.
4.6%.
And you have to remember that the state raised Westmoreland County by almost 1 full mill prior to us doing anything. So if we would not have done any tax increase, Westmoreland County would have paid almost 1 full mill more, and Fayette County would have paid less.
And we wouldn't have made as much money as last year in local revenue if
Correct.
we didn't make an increase.
Correct.
They're all our constituents, all of them. No matter how they pay it, it's coming out of their pocket.
And like I said, whenever I did contact the state, just to verify, because it was a swing, and I wanted to make sure that
7% of
what was coming up in their website was indeed correct, because there were some adjustments last year. So I just wanted to make sure that what we were working with was indeed good numbers, and he made the comment to me, he said, Pam, you are not the only one that has had this issue. He said, I have gotten more calls this year than I ever have in my career.
I don't think anybody sitting on this board wants to raise taxes. I don't think you run for the board wanting to raise taxes. But if you don't want us to raise taxes and you are against this, what do you propose we take out of here to make us balance? Because although everything in my home is raising in price, getting back and forth to work, turning my lights on, heating my home, all of those things are costing more in our homes. They're costing more in these buildings as well. I mean, Pam had sent out an email about the fuel, that the consortium has decided to just bid a small amount of the year, hoping that those prices may go down. The consortium also goes out for bid on paper, copy paper, that nobody has bid on. Nobody has put a bid in because they can't bid it low enough for somebody to take it. So these are all things that we're all facing, and if somebody has the answer to no tax increase, and, we basically would need to cut more than $1 million from this budget. So where does that come from?
Michelle, one of the mandates of the great PSBA Code of Conduct is to be good stewards of the public money. We have now 1,200 empty seats in our buildings, and this district has never considered realignment, reconsolidation that would save millions and millions of dollars.
There was a feasibility study, right? Yeah, they did consider it.
So your answer is to just close a building, put more students in each building. That's the answer.
My answer is fill up 1,200 empty seats. This is according to the architects. I didn't make this up. When they built the capacity for these buildings, right now we have 1,200 empty seats. This is big thinking. This is thinking outside the box. This is looking down the road at what's going to happen to our constituents if you keep raising property taxes.
Having very good, well-funded schools will fill those seats.
people aren't gonna wanna move here if the schools are,
Failing.
Tanking, yes.
They elected you, you do what you want.
and I would like to educate their children with excellence. That's my goal.
You were happy with our achievement test scores?
No. So if we cut even more things for our students, how's that going to improve their test scores?
It might improve.
How?
I told you, I have pictures where it wasn't too long ago when we had 30, 40 kids in these classes at Southmoreland, and their achievement tests were wonderful. I have pictures from yearbooks that people have given me and said, you know, what, we have one teacher for what, for every 14 kids or something like that?
I think that's only if you count itinerants. Like actual kids in a classroom, it's not just 14 kids in a classroom.
No, it's not, but when you look at the ratio, Christie, that's a fact.
But that's not really how you,
That's
how
not
you look at,
realistic numbers.
that's
Look,
not.
if you guys are happy with our achievement,
Nobody.
Nobody has said they are happy with
No, I'm-
achievement.
I thought we were
then
talking
it's
about
time to
tax.
make some changes.
I would definitely agree with that.
I'm right on board with you.
Does anybody else have any discussion on the budget? Roll call.
Mr. Frund,
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
No.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 no, 2 absent.
Did we cancel that meeting at the end of the month then, or?
It can be.
We're going to discuss that later. Emergency instructional time.
The board is asked to approve the PDE Emergency Instruction Time, Section 520.1 form for the 2021-2022 school year. And the reason I'm asking that is we have filed as a district for 5 flexible instruction days due to circumstances. We had 6 days, 1 day over the allotted time. We are still required to account for every single minute of that instruction time. And all this does is just sends validation to the state that we have met all 180 days in the proper amount of instruction hours.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion.
So is that why the school year is just 1 day on here, on the agreement, or am I reading that wrong? It says school year start of date 5/19/22, school year end of date 5/19/22.
In the form?
Mm-hmm. Is that the day that you
No,
use?
that's,
Typo?
that's it. No, that's not right.
I mean, that's the one that is on mine. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
the same thing you have.
Start date is, from last year's calendar is September 1st. And it should go till the last day of instruction, which is June. What is going on there?
I thought maybe you had to ask for that specific day. That's why I thought maybe it was like that.
No, we had to put in what the entire school year calendar. I don't know why that,
So that date should be what?
That's not on here.
yeah,
9/1.
no, I have the calendar.
School year.
The start
Yeah.
date is, first day of instruction was September 1st, 9/1/21. And the last day of instruction for this year will be 6/2/22.
We need to have that.
Form has been problematic.
How do I address that in our, we need a,
Make a motion to
Make
amend the
Yeah.
attachment.
Yeah, that would be the correct approach.
so I need a motion
correct
to
date.
amend the attachment.
So I'll make the motion to amend the attachment to change the dates, school year date, school year start date to 9/1/21, school year end date to 6/2/22.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor to amending the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now I I need a motion to approve.
Motion. I'll make the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Geyer,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mr. Frond,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries, 7 yes, 2 absent.
You guys can change that before I go.
Can I make a motion to table the next item?
Yes. I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I do need to read this just so people are aware.
Right.
So it was contract for student speech therapy.
The board is asked to approve the contract with Redstone Rehabilitation Services for the 2022-2023 school year for speech services at a cost of $75 per hour as indicated by the student's IEP.
I have a motion to table this, and I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The Delphi Day Treatment Contract.
The board is asked to approve a contract between Adelphi Village and the South Warren School District for day treatment services for a student enrolled in the program.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mr. Frond,
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries, 7 yes, 2 absent.
Resignation of junior class sponsor.
The board is asked to accept the resignation of Dave Kiefer as junior class sponsor effective the end of the 2021-2022 school year and authorize the administration to post the supplemental position for the 2022-2023 school year at a supplemental salary of $1,650.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Dr. Fike,
Yes.
Mr. Frond,
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer,
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries, 7 yes and 2 absent.
Do we have any citizens' comments?
No.
I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can you, turn us off, Mr.